The seller is ultimately responsible for the loan. Okay, remember that. Very, very important. The seller is and always still be responsible for the loan. So if the buyer stops making payments, well, now the seller has to step up and they got to start making payments. That's one of the risks, right? Better that you address these risks now. Better that you understand these risks now. Better that you bring these risks up now versus trying to address them later. So when I am talking to a seller about the possibility of purchasing the property subject to the existing mortgage, because remember, purchasing it sub 2 is a possible solution, not the only solution. It's just a possible way for us to make this deal work, right? I'm not cramming it down somebody's throat. I'm not telling someone they should do this. I'm not saying, hey, what are you, stupid? Why don't you do it this way, right? That's not my strategy. Our strategy is this is a possible solution. All you do is you present all of the options. All you do is you present all of the risks. All you do is present all of the benefits. And so that's what we're doing here right now. So buyer stops making the payment, seller's got to continue making the payment. They have to step up. Now, what if the buyer doesn't maintain insurance? That's another possibility, right? That's a risk. Because if the buyer doesn't maintain insurance on the property, and in Los Angeles at the beginning of the year, we all saw what happened in Palisades and in Canyon, right? What if a house was purchased subject to then, and the buyer stopped making their insurance and their hazard insurance payments? Bad news. Bad news. That's also a risk, right? That's something that should be addressed. That's something that you should address as well. And remember, you're the buyer here. Because if you're proposing this idea to an agent or to a seller, you're going to want to cover this with them. Look, these are the risks. I'm going to do my best to mitigate the risks, but this is always a possibility. I want to be very upfront with you. Okay, buyer passes. What happens if I die? Right? What happens if I pass away? Who's going to be making the payments now? All right, and we'll talk about how to mitigate that risk too.